Well, we have a beautiful evening tonight, and that is in spite of all the fires that are going around us. People are out running and mountain biking, and I just came here because there is a reality that is going on around us. And Eden Valley has asked me to teach sustainable living, and I have put together PowerPoints and I'm teaching classes, and people are really, really excited. The one thing, but then we've got this fire, and guess what has happened because of the fire? Mark my words, I knew it was going to happen. People put a lot of time and energy into freezers. Everybody's got freezers, and guess what happens when you have a fire? You got to turn off the electricity. Guess what happens when you turn off the electricity? You lose all the food in your freezer. Well, all these people are looking at a very substantial loss to their food. And what class did I just get done teaching this week? I did canning preparation and safety, and then I taught the young ones how to pressure can, and we were in the kitchen today with a hands-on class. Now, if you all want a canning 101 video, please let me know, because I've got it in me. But what I want to do is talk about what you need to do now to prepare with your food. And this is really important. I've been preaching this for a long time, but we need another class. So number one, if you have any substantial amount of food in your freezer, you never know when something's going to hit. A fire, a tornado, a storm, and electricity is going to go out. You are still, if you are hooked up to the grid, you're at high risk for a lot of things. So let's start preparing our homes now, okay? This is really easy to do. So amazing. All the canners and all the jars have been completely wiped out. You can't find one in the state of Colorado, I don't think. You can't find this stuff online. This summer when I went to Idaho, what did I do? I went to the hardware store and I bought lots of jars. People could have been laughing at me if I would have shared it, but I bought lots of jars because I knew what was going to happen. And now we're in that predicament. We can't find jars. But what I'm going to say is don't lose hope. Keep looking. You need to buy some jars. You need to buy yourself a Presto canner. Presto canners is the easiest to use. You can buy the one that holds 9 quarts. It's got the pressure gauge on the top. You don't need one with a dial, you just need the pressure gauge. And you need to start unthawing the things in your freezer, and you need to start canning them. You need to start canning. It's as simple as that, because that is the only way that you're actually going to preserve your food for long term. Nothing preserves it better. No freezers, you can buy a freeze dryer, freeze dry your food. You can dehydrate your food, that's fine. But you got to get the Mylar bags, and you got to get the vacuum sealing, you got to get all of that. But pressure canning is just the easiest, and water bath canning. So that's number one. Number two, you need to start buying things at the store now while the stores are stocked up. And I mean, you need to buy supplies. You need to go buy your bulk beans. You need 50 pounds of just about everything. I buy in 50 pound to 100 pound increments. 50 pounds of lentils, 50 pounds of red beans, 50 pounds of black beans, 50 pounds of split pea. If you don't eat a lot of beans, I'd still buy, because beans are a great protein source. What's going to happen is what happened at the beginning of COVID. You meat eaters, what happened at Walmart and all the grocery stores? No meat, right? So where's that big source of protein? Well, anyway, the best source of protein isn't always from meat, and that's kind of like the lie when they talk about milk being your source of calcium. That's the biggest lie of all. Oh, yeah, I don't even want to get into that. So we need to stock up our pantries with food that is going to nourish us and sustain us. Buying 100 pounds of sugar isn't going to sustain us. Buying white flour isn't going to sustain us. Buying, how many canned goods of of corn and peas, and that's fine if you eat the stuff, but we need nourishment. We can't be buying spam. We can't be buying processed box foods and cereals, okay? Because what's going to happen when the SHTF hits the fan, and it's hit it several times, the food that nourishes our body is going to give us health. Because during all these crises, our immunities is going to be taxed. It can drop. You know, we see the dropping of the immunity right now. Why? Because we're wearing masks all the time and we're social distancing and we're not being exposed to germs. So your pantry needs to be filled with foods that is going to give you such nourishment. It is going to feed you the antioxidants that you need to keep your health up. You know, I had the wrong idea in the very beginning about my pantry. I completely missed the whole health thing. And now that I have gone through all my health issues and I've got this cancer and I've gone through more training, real solid training with nutrition, I'm like, man, missing the boat. You know, I'm missing the boat. That pantry needs to be filled with good food. So start doing that. Get your beans, get your quinoa, perfect source of protein, You want to also buy your things like, you also want to get your, in fact, I've got a lot of this on Patreon, but I'll just share it with you. Flaxseed, chia seed. You want to buy essential oils. You want to, because your essential oils are going to be for your medicine cabinets. So you need to really learn how to use all of those. You know, natural remedies, so you need to stock up on that. It's not just about the food, but it's also about the natural remedies to treat when you have an illness, when you start getting sick, when you're starting to get the sniffles, or you have a headache, or you can't sleep. You know, there's not going to be Walgreens and CVS, right? So very important. And again, I have a lot of this on Patreon. I've been trying to share as much as I can. Look at these cute deer. I've been trying to share as much as I can. But you know, I'm right now in a situation where, there's tons of deer, where I've been displaced from where I live at Eden Valley. So, you know, it's kind of hard to make videos. I really wanted to get this out because now that I'm displaced, I'm seeing the weaknesses at Eden Valley. The other weaknesses, and we had this about a month ago, is we ran out of water. Our water was shut off, or something happened with the water. Now, stock up on water, please, people. Stock up on water. If you don't have a water source and you're relying on city water, you need to buy lots and lots of water. Water lasts forever. It doesn't go bad, okay? If you have water right now at your disposal, you need to take your hose and you need to put it in plastic barrels. And this is not, drinking water. Just water for bathing purposes are really, really important. But water is very valuable. The other thing is stock up on batteries and flashlights. And what's your source of heat? What's your source of heat? Here in Idaho, winter is going to be coming, and I already thought about this where I'm living. If the heat goes out, there's no how am I going to stay warm where I live? So I'm already looking and trying to purchase a buddy heater. I did a lot of research a couple years ago when I was in my small apartment, and I actually bought a buddy heater. You can use them inside, small areas, big areas. They're very safe, and they will give you heat. You know, if you can't have a wood stove, if you are renting a house, that's what you need to do, is get a buddy heater. People use them for RVs, and they are a good source of heat. So you see, there's just a list that goes on and on and on. So I'm just kind of running through some of it, and that's just some of the things that I'll be teaching in my sustainable class. They want me to start teaching to the public. So if you're in the Loveland, Fort Collins area, if you're in Boulder and Denver, we're going to try to be teaching classes, and I will be hopefully in the future leading those classes. This is really important. I think this is probably another wake-up call for the community at Eden Valley. You know, the one lady, Linda, said, we have a gem with you. You have all the knowledge, and yet we're not using you as a resource. And I'm like, use me, because God has put me here. But I have all my videos. It's amazing. I started going through a lot of my older videos, prepping for my classes. And I tell you what, I have a library. I know it's not highly organized, but I have a library of valuable information. And it just doesn't apply to off-grid living. And this is the other thing that we have to be very careful of. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of channels out there that give advice. And some of the advice right now that's out there is not good advice. I'm just sorry. I mean, they're putting their homesteads up. They're at risk for a lot of things. You know, one big thing, and I won't get too far into it, but when we talk about water, there's people that are buying land now and houses with no water source, and they think they can sustain with hauling water. Biggest mistake on or off grid. Biggest mistake. And every time I hear that someone bought property with no water, they just got duped. They just got duped. And it's breaking my heart, because I have preached the whole water thing for such a long time. I don't care how beautiful that property is, how sustainable you think you're going to be. You can't sustain without water. All right, my friends. I think this is the end of the line. I'm going to turn back, but I'm glad I could spend some of this time with you. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm just taking a little break here. The fires are still burning. We're hoping to get back home soon. You can tell by the sun over there that there's still smoke. All right, I'm heading back, and God bless you.